I also think it's important to add into our planning things like activity or meditation or that downtime, because if we do not, then we just forget them. Then the day is gone and all we've done is work and we just are really out of balance.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hi and welcome to the My Future Business Show. My name is Rick Nusky and today I am going to be talking with Rachael Thompson, who is from Mind, Body and Spirit. How are you, Rachael?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm doing superbly well. As I mentioned to you a little earlier, we've just started back with the next term of school, so everything's a little bit frantic at my end. So how about you? What's been happening in your world?
Not as frantic. I have a couple of things launching for my business, just kind of chugging right along. So it's finally getting warm where I am, which I live in the South.
Mm-hmm.
So it should have been warm like 2 months ago, but winter's been hanging on. So I'm grateful it's finally spring.
Yeah, so you're a summer girl, not a winter girl?
I'm like a fall or spring girl, so I don't like extremes either way.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I absolutely agree. So what we normally do is we spend a couple of minutes learning a little bit about you personally outside of the business sphere, which we certainly will be doing. We'll be talking a lot about developing an entrepreneurial mindset a little bit in the call. Would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself with the audience?
Oh, yeah. So I am a proud mother of 2 doggies.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And I actually moved from up north to down south around 3.5 years ago with no job and started my own business. So that has been definitely a bit of a journey. So yeah, I mostly just kind of spend time with my dogs, my fiance, and enjoy just being outside and trying to find that balance between being on my computer and then actually interacting with people and getting out in nature.
Well, I think that's a really good way to dovetail into this whole conversation about developing an entrepreneurial mindset. Let's go back a little bit about what you said about being in front of your computer and finding that balance between, the work and the play, essentially. How do you manage that in your business?
Well, it takes some discipline because, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners can relate, once you get started on something, it can be so easy for hours just to go by and you not even realize. And then before you know it, your back's all stiff and your eyes have gone googly and it's just, yeah, it's not good. It's not healthy. It's not healthy for our bodies. It's not healthy for our minds. So really, it's just kind of segmenting my schedule.
Yeah.
And, I have a very not strict morning routine, but I have a morning routine that I like to follow that always starts with a meditation. So before I get into any work, I make sure that I'm coming from a peaceful state of mind. And then I do, several hours of work and I try to mix it up a little bit so it's not just one thing. And then I'll take my dogs for a walk. And then, I'll come back and have another couple hours of work, or I'll be like at a coffee shop just to get out. And then I will do something else active. So it's really all about, for me personally, segmenting pretty much everything and being disciplined about it.
So day in, day out, you'll do essentially the same thing.
Pretty much. I would say my morning routine is always the same. What I have going on in the day will vary depending if I have like any meetings or I have to go out of town or things like that. But I really try to stick with my morning routine, and I can tell a difference whenever I don't. I just don't feel right the rest of the day.
Yeah, well, given that we're focusing on that, the development of an entrepreneurial mindset, if somebody has to change their day-to-day behaviors, their routine, how would you suggest that they accommodate for that, unforeseen change in their routine?
Yeah, that is a hard one. That's a hard one to balance.
Mm,
I think that there are some things that can remain consistent if you kind of have some willpower and you also have flexibility and can make it happen.
hmm
So, for example, I know that a lot of entrepreneurs have a very hard time balancing their work with some sort of activity. And that can be exceptionally hard if you are traveling a lot, or if anything is out of your norm. A lot of times our workout routine, our activity is the first thing to fall by the wayside. So yeah, I think definitely planning and preparation. We plan a lot for the work that we had to have done. But I also think it's important to add into our planning things like activity or meditation or that downtime, because if we do not, then we just forget them. Then the day is gone and all we've done is work and we just are really out of balance.
Can you tell us a little bit about meditation and how that ties in with entrepreneurial mindsets?
Oh, yeah. So the great thing about meditation is there are all different kinds of meditation, and there's no right way or wrong way to do it.
hmm
So what I have found is meditation can help entrepreneurs in basically every aspect of running a business. So, and it's really such an individualized thing that it's hard to say like, okay, this is the best meditation for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But what you can do is see where you are struggling. So let's say maybe it's a struggle on keeping focus and sticking with one project to completion. Then adding in a focus-oriented meditation is going to help slowly train your mind. And that task that you've been struggling with will just become easier and easier. Or let's say it is fear. We are very fearful of maybe networking or social interactions, or we have an extreme fear of failure. There are meditations for all of those. And again, it's just this subtly shifting our mindset. And so whenever we go about our day-to-day activities, it's not as much of a struggle as an internal struggle. And then, of course, just with the balance and reducing stress and just meditation gives us some time to unwind.
I often sit in airports and it's hustle and bustle. I'm sure you're familiar with the environment, and I wonder, is it as easy because to just sit there in a relatively quiet space in an airport lounge and just close your eyes and meditate? Because I don't necessarily understand what meditation is. Would you be able to share some fundamentals about meditation with us?
Yeah, definitely. So you can definitely meditate in an airport. Something that you can do anywhere is practice mindfulness, which mindfulness is kind of a buzzword as of the last several years or so. But it really just is the practice of kind of observing the world around you.
hmm
So airports can be really stress inducing. You're rushing, everybody's rushing. I mean, there's just so many factors. But even just standing in the security line and instead of getting frustrated or, checking your phone, you can just stand there and just observe.
Mm.
And it disassociates you from all of the chaos that's going on around you. Or there's just even like simple breathing exercises. So if you are sitting at the airport again and you want to calm down, you want to get into a more centered or meditative state, if you just start breathing in for a count of 4, you hold it for a second or two, and then you exhale for a count of 4. If you do that just for several minutes, you will notice a physical change. You will become so much more relaxed and your mind is so much calmer.
I was just trying that then for 4
Oh,
seconds.
yeah, good.
And it actually does work. It has a physical impact on the way you perceive the world around you, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. And then you can have just like your interactions become so much more valuable. You're calm. You're able to think more clearly. You're able to get a lot more work done because your mind is able to just it be clear it's not junked up with a whole bunch of other stuff that kind of takes us away from our focus a lot of times.
You know, I'm certainly blessed to be able to spend time with people like yourself. It's been one of the greatest joys I've actually had to be able to put the My Future Business show together for beginner entrepreneurs and existing small to medium-sized business owners. So thank you very much for sharing some of those insights. I wonder about some of the other entrepreneurial mindset components that we've not spoken about. Could you share a little bit more about other parts of this?
Yeah, so I like working with beginning entrepreneurs as well.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite parts of working with them is really kind of getting to their underlying motivation for wanting to become an entrepreneur.
Mm.
And that is a huge mindset piece because I think a lot of people come into entrepreneurship and they want to start a business because they kind of think it's going to change everything. They're going to, wake up and all of a sudden be a millionaire, or, they're just going to love every single day of their life.
Mm.
But the truth is, yes, if you find something you're passionate about, it is amazing. But it can also be filled with a lot of stress and a lot of balancing. And so, as you're starting to become an entrepreneur, I think one of the top mindset things to focus on is just, what is your motivation? What are you trying to get out of it?
Mm.
And then trying to find things that align with that motivation. I know a lot of entrepreneurs that have chased the almighty dollar, which is wonderful. If that's like your number one value, no judgment here.
Mm-hmm.
But the circumstances that I'm thinking of in particular, they chased that, and like 3-5 years down the road were so unhappy. It was just a wrong fit on so many levels, but they only saw like that one part of it and just followed it because of the money without really taking a step back and being like, okay, wait, is this a fit? Am I cut out? Like, am I fit for this? Is this a fit for me? So I think that's definitely step one of developing this entrepreneurial mindset.
When you work with clients, what are the processes that you would take a beginner who is so excited and they're out of control essentially, they're so excited and they want to start, and what are the first few things that you say are important for them in terms of, is it about being consistent, persistent? What is it?
Well, I think the first couple of things are just examining their values, knowing their whys,
Mm-hmm.
and then also examining just themselves on a strength and weakness basis. So I'm sure a lot of people have probably heard of like a SWOT analysis. So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats sort of thing. Starting off there and trying to find a business that aligns with what they value, with what their strengths are, and understanding their weaknesses, because there are two types of weaknesses. There are just things that we innately are not good at. We can't be good at everything, and that's okay. There are things innately that we just don't like as individuals, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the second type of weakness just stems from a lack of knowledge. So that has to be distinguished. If it is something that you are just not that great at, you just don't like, then you want to kind of shift your what you want to do around that. You don't want to start a business that is going to require something from you that you just don't have in you, and that's okay. However, you don't want a perceived weakness to stop you whenever that weakness simply comes from a lack of knowledge or a lack of skills that you can easily gain. So that's always step one.
So when we talk about our own mindset, I often think about, first we are concerned about something, then we start to escalate it to a worry, and then if we don't control our mindset, we ultimately end up in this fear state. When you have somebody going through these phases, how do you recognize it, and how do you help them through those things?
Well, the fear state can manifest in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting because I think just being able to identify that some of these actions or thoughts are just stemming from fear is very important, because what we will do because of fear is we will justify why we can't do some things, why we didn't do some things. We'll procrastinate. So it really plays out in a lot of our actions.
Yeah.
But then kind of when you dig beneath all of that, then you're like, okay, this is all stemming from fear. And then once you know, then you can see what you're actually afraid of. And most of the time, what we are afraid of just comes from our own distorted beliefs. They're not coming from reality. It's coming from us psyching ourselves out so much that it affects our behavior.
Yeah. When I'm looking at your website, you have some free trainings. What are those free trainings about?
Yeah, so I have one free training that's a mindset makeover, and then I have another one that's actually going to launch soon, which is going to be 10 steps to starting your business. It's just a checklist for beginning entrepreneurs. And really with these free trainings, and my end goal for anybody who takes my trainings is that they are able to find the happiness that they're looking for. They're able to both develop the mindset that's going to lead them there, and they're able to take their skills and their passions and turn it into a business. So it's kind of like having it all. You're working on the inside, you're working on the outside, and I want to provide people the tools to get there.
I'd love to look at more about your books. You've obviously done a few books. Can you tell us about those?
Yeah, I have. So it kind of goes along with the theme. I have some basic business, beginning entrepreneur books. I have books on mindfulness and meditation. And then I have a book on discovering your life purpose, which takes you through every single step, starting at square one to figure out what it is that you should be doing. So yeah, it's been a really great way to reach people.
We often have people that we speak to inside of the My Future Business community forum asking about how do I become an author? So how does it actually come about that somebody becomes an author?
Yeah, well, so I self-published my books, and it is really so simple. Anybody who's listening, if you want to become an author, you can do it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just start out with something just to get your feet wet. So basically, all you have to do is, write a book. And if you feel like you're a little rusty, if your writing skills are a little rusty, there are writing coaches out there. There are tons of writing courses on Udemy. Several I took, they're really good. And you write your book, and then all I did personally was go onto Fiverr, which is Fiverr, and they have people who will format your book to upload it to Kindle so people can get the ebook, and it will also upload it to Amazon's print on demand so you can have paperback versions. And you can find people, like I said, on that Fiverr website that will do it for like $5, $10.
Yeah, it's pretty cost effective, isn't it?
Yeah, very cost effective. The same website, you can get people to design your covers. You can find editors. And also just like talking to different authors, you find good like editors and resources. So if anybody is interested in becoming an author, Goodreads is an excellent platform for both readers and authors, and it's a great place to connect with other self-published authors to get like good resources on editors they used and graphic designers and things like that.
Well, that's great insight. Thank you very much for sharing that with our audience. It's always nice to know what the process is behind becoming an author, and if people want to reach out to you, they can do so at your website, presumably.
Yes, yeah, definitely. The contact information would be down at the bottom. So yeah, you can reach out. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I do. I'm very interested in this program that you have there called Power Affirmations. What's that about?
Okay, so affirmations are how we restructure our subconscious beliefs. A lot of us have subconscious beliefs that we just picked up like a long time ago. Actually, most of our subconscious forms before the age of 2, which is kind of crazy and scary because we have no control over that. So what happens is we develop these thought patterns, and then we reinforce them going through childhood and adolescence and adulthood. And we develop these pretty nasty thought patterns. I mean, we develop good ones too, but we like those, so we'll keep them.
Mm-hmm.
But what we want to work through are these ones that don't serve us. So these could be where that fear is originating. Mm-hmm. It could be, thought patterns around money. So like if you grew up in a home where your parents didn't have enough money, or they said rich people were bad, or, money doesn't grow on trees, we take that within ourselves, and we might grow into adulthood and really want to make a lot of money, but then we're just constantly blocked and we're not able to get where we want to be. A lot of times it's that subconscious block that's at fault. So what affirmations do is there's a process of you kind of retraining your mind, retraining your subconscious, and it's really simple. It's, just making statements that you want to be true, and over time, it restructures that subconscious mind and it eliminates those blocks.
Thank you so much, Rachael, for sharing those insights. Now, if anybody wants to reach out to you, where will they find you?
Currently, I'm not doing any coaching clients, but I do have tons of free affirmations and meditations on my YouTube channel, and also on my Mindful Mondays podcast. And yeah, you can just reach out with an email, and people contact me all the time. It might take me a little bit to get back to you, but I really love connecting with people who want to pursue their dreams and are really passionate about finding that happiness, both on the inside and outside. So yeah, you can just go to my website, YouTube, podcast, you'll be able to find me.
So anybody who's listening to this call, you can reach out to Rachael at www.mymbse.com. I'm looking at the footer. There are links to all of her social media channels. Rachael, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the My Future Business Show today.
Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
It's been fun having you on the call with us today. Now click on that big red subscribe button and make sure you leave us a comment, share us with your friends, and join the growing list of leading entrepreneurs who have enjoyed their time on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews.